Five. Okay,
Oh,
cool. Hi, everybody.
hello.
Hey, Krissa made it. Hi, Krissa. First comment.
Yeah,
Wait, Michael, are you seeing the comments? Are they coming on your end? Just want to
yeah,
make sure.
I am this time. Last time they were like delayed and coming in batches, but it looks like everything's showing up this time.
Good, good. So, hi, everybody. As promised, it is 6 o'clock, so we are with you. You're already familiar with Michael Lauber, myself, Annie Cyrus. We were actually talking about a few of the things. Well, few reports I saw, few reports Michael saw, all about Muslims committing crime and then getting away with it. So, just
Yeah.
in case if you cut the first few sentences, the discussion was when it comes to justice, it does not apply to Muslims. Go ahead, Michael, if you want to say hi to everybody.
Yeah, hello. Thank you. And thanks for tuning in. But yeah, we've got three stories to cover so far. And then wherever you guys want to help lead the conversation. Plus, we've got some stuff to follow up from the show that ran earlier today. So it's going to be a busy evening. We got a lot to cram in.
Yes, and please, please, please share this wherever you are. You might be joining us on YouTube because we are live on Facebook on two pages, which is my personal profile page and my public figure page. We are on YouTube as well. Do not hesitate to communicate with us. I promise I won't bite. Okay, I might bite.
Yeah. But
Depend on what you say. If you're a Muslim who comes on the comments to tell me that I misunderstood Quran, that I might bite, but I will bite you with facts. Michael generally never bites. Do you,
I
Mike?
try. I try not to. It's kind of it's risky behavior. I don't want to get sued for sexual harassment or whatever. But yeah, please like, share, subscribe. I don't care if it's Twitter, Gab, Truth. I don't care if you go in your backyard and send smoke signals. Help us get the word out, please.
Agreed. How about this? Like I do this. Well, I used to do this when President Trump was in the office. Um, I would watch whenever he had a speech or press conference or anything addressing the nation. I would actually grab sentences that he would say and just constantly post them randomly. You can do that. Like if you say
Yeah,
something cool, just grab that, or not cool, something controversial. But do share, please, because we need to raise these numbers up. One, because we want to inform more people. Two, because it does help us build our audience, which helps us financially.
yeah,
Financially, everybody's gonna watch. Numbers are gonna drop. I just said money. Oh boy.
yeah.
And
Well,
agreed. I don't know if you see Jonathan's post, but yes, this country is going to hell, as Jonathan said. Thank you for
yes,
sharing, also, Jonathan.
yeah.
Okay,
Thank
let's get
you.
it started. Let's start with the report you were telling me about India. What happened in India?
Yeah, in India, this story I saw this earlier this week, but it was about a young girl. And sorry, do you remember how old she was? Like 13, I think.
I
Uh,
think she was. Oh, you go ahead. I'm gonna pull it up and double check. You go ahead.
Yeah, yeah. So she was stalked by a Muslim guy for a year, and this guy wasn't just stalking her; he was harassing her family, um, making open threats. The local police wouldn't do anything about it; they didn't intervene, and then she ends up he murdered her
Well,
recently.
I'm sorry. She was 17 when the harassment and the stalking started. Now
Okay,
she's 18, 17, but
okay,
it's still a minor.
yeah. And sorry, we have another story. It's about a 13-year-old, so I was confusing the ages. I mean, which again is really awful. Like we have three of these stories to cover right now, and they're all within the last 7 days. But again, like you don't see it hardly anywhere. You have to dig for these. The one I just happened to catch last week on one of the aggregators I look at, but we see this over and over again. It's always swept under the rug, and we're still in the process of importing 60,000 plus Afghan refugees. Yeah.
Oh shoot! I'm sorry. I'm reading a little bit more detail. So here's what did happen. He actually forced her. By the ways, I'm sorry. As I was reading, I'm not very good at reading English and hearing English at the same time. That's one multitasking I don't do. Hi, Albino. Um, so he forced her to go meet him. Otherwise, he's going to kill her family, which
Hmm.
all were, what was it? They were not Muslims, Hindu. They
Hindi,
were
I
Hindu.
think. Yeah.
Uh, and then he kept her for 4 days, raped her over and over, and then convinced her to convert to Islam. I mean, the peace within this action is just,
Yeah, it's unbelievable. It's peace through force, I guess. It's the opposite of peace through strength.
well, okay, I'm gonna go expert on you for a second,
Yeah.
just in case, if in any shape or form anybody might think this one Indian Muslim guy was somehow misunderstanding or whatever, or this is not described or described
Yeah.
in Islam. Let's break it down. There are many verses. Don't quote me on it, but I know it's more than 180. I don't know the exact number. More than 180 verses in the Quran where refers to those that your right hand possesses, aka sex slave. Okay,
Yes.
sex slaves are never Muslims. They aren't. That's for Quran. Then specifically on chapter 4 verse 3 where it says if you fall in love with a minor orphan girl is always minor. The moment you turn 18 you're not an orphan anymore by definition. So minor girl, if you fall in love with her through her wealth or beauty, if you paid a fair price you can have her, otherwise go buy another woman, 1, 2, 3, or 4, or among those that your right hand possesses. That's another one. Then let's go to Muhammad. There are within Hadith and within Sirah, being Muhammad's lifestyle or life story, whatever, it is mentioned over and over and over that when he conquered, after any battle that he conquered, he killed all the men, took all the boys as labor slave, then took the girls and the women, gave them a chance, become sex slave for my army, or convert and marry me. This is not something this Indian Muslim guy made up in his own head. No, it isn't. It's within Sharia, within Islam. Sorry, go ahead.
Exactly. And she converted after 4 days of rape. So is this like, just make it stop, I'll do what you want? Because I mean, that's going to break somebody down over time. If she thought that was her only way out or only chance to get any peace and get out of there, I mean, what other options would she have thought she had? Her family had already contacted law enforcement multiple times and they refused to do anything.
Well, that's the thing. I always say this, which some people understand, some people don't, some people get upset about. I'll say, yes, there's always a choice. Within Islam, outside of Islam, as life goes, there's always a choice. Sometimes it's between bad and worse. Sometimes it's between good and bad, sometimes good and better, whatever the case. In Islam, there are always choices. Yes, you have a choice when it comes to even your hijab. Wear the hijab, don't wear the hijab. Consequences, wear the hijab, you're good to go. Don't wear the hijab, you officially authorize a Muslim man to rape and assault you, insult you. Assault you. Wow, my English just like left me as soon as we started this live feed. What is that all about? But that's the thing. There are choices. Her choices: convert or die. An 18-year-old doesn't want to die. She might have done what I did. I pretended to be a Muslim. I didn't repeat after the guy at the 9-year-old ceremony. But then, they automatically took me as a Muslim. And I played along to the best of my abilities to survive. That's what, again, they're targeting. Sometimes when I say they target kids, and unfortunately, especially in Western countries, now this is India, I understand, but in Western countries, they have dumbed down our kids to point of not even knowing the difference between their feelings and facts. This is what happens. Sorry, go ahead. I literally interrupted your sentence.
No, you're fine. I mean, you're dead on. And it's she probably assumed, like you said, that was her self-preservation instinct kicking in. She thought, okay, maybe if I go along with this and pretend to convert, I'll get some peace and then maybe I can escape. But unfortunately, that wasn't, he didn't even allow that. She ended up dead, obviously. Exactly. But again, we see this over and over again with law enforcement. They don't want to be accused of being Islamophobic or whatever. And they just let it continue. We keep seeing this with the grooming gangs in the UK. There was just a story the other day where 10 people were sent back to the UK that were volunteering with refugees. And I've seen mixed stories, but some people are saying that these were linked back to one of the grooming gangs.
Yeah, and that's a funny thing. I have learned this. I actually just posted on my page again because I refuse to think that these numbers are real. I'm sorry. I know I keep saying this, but seriously, I know I shouldn't say this, and I know you're going to talk me out of it, Michael, but why?
What are we looking at?
The numbers of shares and comments and viewers. There is no way. I refuse to accept for a second that this is Facebook shadow banning because I announced this live feed almost 6 hours ago.
Yeah.
I refuse to buy into lazy people who claim that shadow banning on Facebook is causing anything, because it isn't.
No,
Oh, Lord.
Well, it's one thing when you go live unexpectedly. Yeah, not everybody can see it, but yeah, you posted, I shared it. I know other people did, and I shared the link after I put it out. So, same thing. I'm about to send it out again.
I know. It's 1 second. Okay, so I will leave my absolute frustration on that for later, because right now,
Yeah.
I know, sis. I know you have a band that won't allow you to share the live feed. I understand that. Anyhow, back to what we were saying. I have learned that the moment a kidnapping, a rape, grooming, gang rape, as the moment it's not being investigated, they have the proof Muslims are behind it, because apparently law doesn't apply to Muslims, because their own prophet always said, follow the law of the land until it goes against Sharia. Then Sharia is superior. It's like our own justice system has agreed with the system of Sharia. Hi, Daniel. Great to see you. I'm glad you found the page. Our own justice system within any country has agreed that Sharia is superior. Every time they don't investigate, every time they, to this day, Michael, we talked about it. Me and you, we talked about the shooting of the church in, Lord have mercy, Louisiana, Alabama.
Yes. Yeah. Sorry.
3 people died. To this day, even though they arrested the shooter, there is not a name of the shooter out there. The story disappeared. No information came out. Tell me that wasn't a Muslim.
Oh, of course it was. But you even see it, like, you see it blatantly in the UK right now when these trials happen where they don't allow media coverage, or they take the names out of the story. And that basically tells you that it's somehow associated with Muslims or the immigrant population in general in the UK. They say it'll stir up racial sentiment or animosity, but that isn't the case. It just, you have to get out there and you have to tell the truth.
I'm
There's
sorry,
a reason they're
wait.
censoring it.
Can you do me a favor, just for lack of my English? Elaborate that what you just said. It will stir up what?
They're afraid if they report things accurately, that'll somehow stir up feelings with people, that they will stop wanting this unending wave of refugees, or they will blame the community for the crimes they're committing.
Okay, wait. Let's break this. Number one. If that applied to everybody, I would be game. How come it's okay to report someone who doesn't even belong to KKK or any group, but just by nature is born a white, tall guy with blonde hair?
Yeah.
It's okay to report that. That doesn't affect the community. That doesn't create the fake narrative of the biggest danger we face in America now is white supremacy. Number two, why is it that if we report fact and create emotions based on that truth and fact, it's a bad thing? But if we report lies and create a stir of or wave of emotion that was created by that fake fact, that's okay? Yeah, I mean,
yes,
these are all, I'm not genuinely asking this question. We all know the answer to these questions, but this is where we push back. I actually talked to someone in that area of Alabama. I'm like, why is it that none of the citizens knock at the police department and say, we need the name of the person who started shooting at our church?
Well, I bet when they do, they get investigated by the FBI for stirring up trouble, just like these parents that go to school boards or anybody else that pushes too hard on any of these things. They start labeling you.
That's
no, I agree.
Let them investigate you. I mean, as of right now, this is completely irrelevant, probably to not really. Anyhow, as of right now, we have political prisoners in the United States of America. Let that sink in for 5 seconds. And then let's let this sink in. We have political prisoners sitting in prison that are not even indicted yet.
Yeah.
What happened
15 months?
What happened to not guilty until proven guilty? What happened to that? Oh, wait. That only applies to non-American, non-conservative, non-Christian, non-white people. Yeah. I said it.
Well, and you're exactly right. And it is They are literally political prisoners. They fit the definition to a T. When you have the crimes that some of these people committed, crimes for a lot of them, the maximum penalty might be 30 days in jail. Maybe you'll do some community service, have to pay a $150 fine. So they're in jail now longer than you would keep somebody for a felony. A felony is 1 year, 1 day in jail or longer. So we've had people in jail for the maximum you could argue would be 30 days, and they're still in there. Or you have people like Derek Evans. He just checked into a prison yesterday. He's doing 90 days. Same thing. Walked in, but because he was a known figure, he held elected office in Virginia beforehand. They tried to make an example out of him. So they gave him 90 days. They changed from misdemeanor charges. I think he was originally charged with 4 misdemeanors and said they moved it to 1 felony. They bankrupted him basically, so he would go along with a plea deal. And now he's doing 90 days in, and now he's a felon.
And let's talk about Mr. Evans for a minute.
Yeah.
By the way, if you guys have not heard, we do have a Sunday show, 1 hour live on Lindell TV, Franco Speeches, myself, Michael, and AJ. And we were so blessed to be able to get a hold of Mr. Evans before he goes back to prison. And we were able to do I wasn't available, unfortunately, but AJ and Michael were able to talk to him for a few minutes, which we will air that on Sunday. But one thing I said after you called me, Michael, and I started talking about Mr. Evans, tell audience if I'm lying. Didn't I? First thing I said is it's embarrassing that he doesn't have millions of followers backing him up.
Yes, exactly.
That's where we fail. Mm-hmm. We have a person who they made an example out of, and instead of us getting behind him, a lot of people detached themselves. A lot of people even didn't bother to interview him. They didn't want to give him a voice. Why would he go bankrupt, have to make a deal when we have one simple organization of Muslims put together a GoFundMe and they raised tens of thousands of dollars for nothing? Oh, no, wait. $62,000 raised in 1 week for Linda Sarsour's bodyguards because she was feeling scared of white supremacy wanting to kill her. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
No. It's not. What's unbelievable is that we fail to put our money where our mouth is. We want everybody to be a martyr for us. We want everybody to run out and do the job for us. And then when somebody gets in trouble, we all go hide. That's the problem with our side. We don't want to get involved with any kind of trouble. You're not breaking the law. If you knock at your police department door and say, I want the name of the person who committed such and such and such, it's not breaking the law. It's your God-given right.
Yeah.
When you see a cover up, if you call it out, when there is someone who's innocent. Now, mind you, I will say there were some people who did break the law when it comes to January 6th, but there weren't this many people and they didn't commit these crimes. So I just want to be clear for the record. I'm not saying they were all good people. Did some of them walk into a trap? Yes. Is there a crime to be stupid? No. If that was a crime, the entire leftist part of government would be present for it because they're all stupid.
Yeah.
They were stupid. They were dumb to walk into a trap. Do they deserve to lose their entire life? No. If it would get behind Mr. Evans, he wouldn't go bankrupt. He wouldn't be forced to make a deal that he did not deserve. That's going to change his entire future, his entire family's future. I'm going to rest this whole.
Yeah. Well, I just sent you a link to his Give, Send, Go on a Telegram. I don't know if you want to post it if we're able to, but this is one thing. So part of the game that the federal government played with him is, and immediately, so he was arrested 2 days after January 6th. So on January 8th, they came to his house. Now he did say the law enforcement agents that came and got him were respectful. They even waited for his wife to get home so he didn't have to worry about the kids before they hauled him off. And he did not have to stay in jail. So he even doesn't have a problem with like local law enforcement. But once they had access to his financial records, they waited strategically till he had no money left, none in his savings, because they can continue to pull these reports. Then he remortgaged his house. Same thing. They basically waited till he was flat broke and then made an offer that at this point he really can't refuse. Because also even just getting an attorney, a lot of attorneys don't want to touch this. And when you're talking like a $50,000 retainer, not everybody has that lying around. Most people can't just go into a bank, go in and they don't have that sitting in a savings account. It's
I don't.
it's a lot of I don't either.
I don't have a saving account.
Well, I do have a savings account, but getting $50,000 in it would take me a little while.
And that's the thing. By the way, everybody, I did post the link to his campaign. It's givesendgo.com/Evans family. If anybody can, no, you know what? Let me rephrase. Everybody can afford a donation. Click on it, make a donation. This isn't about me. This isn't mine anymore for people to start screaming, yeah, you're doing this for money. It's for Mr. Evans. I'm not getting a commission out of it either. Click on those links. I tried to put it on the screen, but it's going to basically throw everything off if I do that. But I'm sorry. I should have thought about it to put it up before. But the point is small or big. Matthew, by the way, I appreciate we have Lean Matthews that they did do an article on Mr. Evans. So that's fantastic. That's the thing. There is something you can all do. And now we're talking about Mr. Evans, but there are so many Mr. Evans out there. There are so many people that we can get behind. That's the thing. Not everybody can be a leader. Let's put it that way. You can't. Some people don't have it in them. Some people are too busy. Some people have too much to lose. I have always said over and over, one of the reasons I get questioned, nothing stops you. Like, I got nothing to lose except my own neck, which I don't care for much. I don't want this neck if I'm going to go back to living under Sharia. Simple as that. I got nothing to lose. Nothing. But there are people who have families, children, grandchildren, business, whatever. I get it. Fine. Not everybody can be a leader. But then in order to have enough leaders to stand as strong, there is requirement to get behind them. Dr. Bill Warner always mentions, I actually learned this from Dr. Bill Warner, that a Muslim organization, a Muslim person, even as simple they got in a car accident, Muslims trip over each other to donate to them. Nobody asks for, is it tax write-off? Is it not? You know how many people have told me if I turn Live Up to Freedom into a 501c, they're going to donate to me because then they can write it off? I'm like, so you want me to get a gag order on myself from government so you can make a tax-deductible donation? No, thank you.
Yeah, not to mention open yourself up to
invest. If tax write-off is that important, no, thank you. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, well, not to mention that also opens you up to investigation. And the way our government is now, it'll be abused. It'll just be like the IRS scandal years ago with Lois Lerner. They'll dig into everything about you and they will look for a crime. It won't be an honest investigation, making sure you're spending the money the way you're supposed to, that it's all going to a charitable cause. It will be looking for anything else they can pin to you, and it'll be process crimes. It's death by 1,000 cuts.
Michael, it's gonna take me 24 hours to lose my 501c.
Yeah, agreed.
I don't know how to censor I can't. Yeah. I will talk sign language if there's a gag order on my mouth.
Well, and here's the thing.
It's just go ahead.
It'll be enforced 100% to the letter of the law for you, whereas you see leftist charities all the time breaking the rules. They don't even get charged the violation, not even a fine.
Exactly.
Lynn, real quick, if you can post a link to that article, please do. And yeah, we can get into his thing with the court-appointed attorney as well. That's something else I don't think a lot of people are aware of, how that works. I wasn't until he told me.
Yeah, that's the thing. To be honest, two things. One, I want to make sure we don't give too much of information. He kindly put the time to give us as an interview. I kind of feel like, I think it was extremely generous of him to give us time literally day before having to leave. He could have taken that time to spend that time with his family. I take it as a very generous move. So I want to make sure we let his explanation and information stay for his airtime, which is Sunday. Secondly, I want to take us back to where we were with Islamic acts getting away with Islamic barbaric acts. So that's I saw Lynn's comment, and I agree. Yes, I agree. If you post a link to that article, that would be very helpful. I need to set straight. I'm getting too worked up here, aren't I? I will not. It was interesting. The whole, doesn't matter what you do, you can't make everybody happy. On our last live feed, afterwards there was an interesting comment. I took it the positive way. Somebody said, this is information you don't find anywhere else. However, I have problem following a voice that's too passionate. I was like,
Well,
today before we start, I actually told Mike, I'm like, shut me down when I'm getting too passionate or we lose audience. There is always something. There is something that somebody's gonna use to not get educated. Go ahead.
I think we're both hyped up today, whereas last time when we filmed, I had shot like 2 things earlier in the day, and I needed some caffeine, I think.
Here, let's address this question. I'll let you go, Paul.
Stretch. As a working class man, my money is stretched so thin, I can't do more than pay my bills. Where do the leftists get so much money? Well, a lot of them, if you live in your parents' basement, it's easy to pull the last $10 out of your sock. But it is, to be honest, though, some of it is sacrificing. And I mean, I hate to be like this, to put it this way, but a lot of them, they will forego, going to Starbucks for a week to support their cause. And a lot of it is also the virtue signaling when they do it. This is something I talked about in an article I wrote a while back. But, when a leftist makes a donation, it isn't just that they give their cause their $5, $10, whatever. They post it to Twitter. They post it to Facebook. They post it to everything. They get that feedback from everybody and those, the attaboys. And also that encourages others to donate when they do it. So it does create a movement, even if it's off one person. They kind of it's those little dopamine hits that encourage them to continue to do it. And it's all of their in-group doing the same thing, whereas we don't have that same kind of connection or that same kind of in-group. And yeah, I do realize there's some people right now, especially with the inflation, that they literally just do not have the extra money. But even then, there's time you can give, because ultimately sometimes that's more important. If you can take 5 minutes and call your congressman when one of these things comes up that we talk about, that's extremely helpful for us too. People don't realize it doesn't take as many phone calls as you think to shift to shift the conversation. Like, I've heard from several sources now that, like, when a company drops an advertiser or advertising on a show, how many phone calls do you think it takes to get the average company to do that? Any idea? You got it. 200 or less on average. Because the person that answers the phones there, it's not their normal job. Normally they're transferring people. So all of a sudden, when they're getting 200 phone calls in one afternoon and it's all people complaining about them advertising on Sean Hannity or whatever, it seems like more than it is. So companies will freak out and then all of a sudden cut ties with that advertiser.
I agreed with everything you said. I want to add 2 more things though. Number 1, Steve put it on the comments. Also, the left has Uncle Soros. Not just one Soros, many of them.
Yes.
We don't. Our movement on the right doesn't have anyone who's committed enough to spend outside of their own mafia. I said it, sue me.
Well, you're exactly right.
If they don't see you fit 100% to follow everything of their own organization, you're out. The unity within the left. Soros provides the money. He doesn't care who you are exactly. As long as you're willing to show up to one of the Antifa burning down buildings or to one of the crying in front of buildings because Trump is elected, as long as you will create chaos and destruction in America, you get paid. 1. 2, you hinted at it, but reverse engineer. The second thing is the left is so committed that they will shift their purchase. And I'm going to actually use it because we are up to take a quick break. We have few conservative, good companies with products that are things that we need, right? But we don't go spend our grocery amount or whatever with them. We go to the convenient place. For example, there's Walmart, right? For a good chunk of time, Walmart has stayed out of politics for their own good. But in last 2.5 years, Walmart's been involved with politics. Michael can testify. A year ago maybe, I asked him to help me to paint my fence. Michael said, we can pick it up, not the paint brush. And says, like, I can pick some up on my way from Lowe's. I said, I don't buy things from Lowe's. Let's go to Home Depot. He's like, it's a little cheaper at Lowe's. I'm like, I don't care. Lowe's was on Biden's side. Did I do that, Michael?
Yeah, exactly. And you're exactly right, because making smarter purchasing decisions, supporting companies that support our values, or at the very least aren't trying to damage them, is how we start changing things.
Exactly. That's the thing. We could switch sides. I'm not saying you have to donate. No. As Michael said, there are many other ways to support, But if you think of it, for example, I'm going to bring up Mike Lindell because, first of all, he is supporting my show. Secondly, I personally have got a lot of the items and I'm very happy with them. And I mean, there has to be a reason that this man is selling millions of items, right? Now, Michael, this is interesting. I had someone tell me, why would I want to go buy something from Mike Lindell when he already says he's selling millions? I'm like, what? Then you think Walmart isn't selling billions? You think Target isn't selling billions? What is your logic here? He might have sold 60 some million pillows, but guess what? He has spent millions of dollars trying to get all of this evidence in front of every single court and judge he can. Did you think about that? Did you think about, since Mike Lindell opened Frank's Speech and Lindell TV, you know how many jobs he has created, including myself? I can't get a normal job. They either don't hire me because they are leftists, or they don't hire me because they're too afraid that some jihadi is going to blow up the building I work in. I am able, those who have followed me for a long time can testify that I have not reached out to my supporters in a long time to ask for help financially. That's because Mike Lindell and Brandon House gave me a job. Now, they're very kind to say I'm good at it. Okay. But they didn't have to. If Mike Lindell wouldn't put millions out there to put together a 24-hour TV station, there wouldn't be a position of associate producer for me to take the job. Why are we not thinking about that? Yes, I'm directly promoting Mike Lindell right now.
Yeah.
Because in a way, if you think about it, Mike Lindell can somewhat be our Uncle Soros, God forbid, not on a personality level, on a financial level. He's creating jobs, not just with his MyPillow. He's got the frankaspeech.com, then he got the Lindell TV going on 24, then we got the Lindell TV 2, then we have the Frank Speech app, then we have the Frank Social. That is the combination of function of Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. You think that doesn't cost money? He kept doing it. He's still doing it. Every month he's talking about a new project being launched. And what, you think he's running it all by himself? No, he's creating job for people.
Yeah.
So, and that's the thing. He has provided promo code for people like me, like you, like Brandon House, Diamond and Silk, Roger Stone, Steve Bannon, Stu Peters. I'm running out of names to say on top of So we are making commission while everybody's buying all of his products for the bare minimum possible. I'm just saying, there are ways. It's the matter of taking that commitment. You mentioned it. When left commits to a cause, they commit to a cause. They don't let it go. We got to do the same thing. But since I talked so much about Mike Lindell, MyPillow, Maya Store, Lindell TV, Frank Speech, and all that, let's go. There is a brand new product, just in case if you haven't heard, our entire 29 wonderful people who are with us. There's a My Coffee out. I normally don't do coffee on show, but I am today. I don't know if have you got yours yet, Michael?
No, I think it's supposed to get here. Oh man, tomorrow or Wednesday. I don't remember which. Sorry.
I'm gonna make you jealous. I'm ahead of you.
Yeah, I hear it's delicious.
It is actually very delicious. Two things I can say about it is, one, it is rich, but I don't do black coffee or too much coffee. I'm a little picky on my coffee, but it's still smooth. It kind of reminds me of being a wine drinker. It kind of reminds me of more of a berry oak taste of wine. It's rich, but it goes down. Secondly, I use a lot less creamer when I make that. So anyways, let's go hear the details from Mike himself, and then we come back and we try to head back to Islam getting away when it comes to law and order. We'll be right back, guys.
Hello, I'm Mike Lindell, and I'm excited to announce my new product, My Coffee. I get products all the time from entrepreneurs for my new platform, mystore.com. And when I tried my coffee for the first time, I was blown away. It is the best coffee I've ever had in my life. I spent the last 4 months doing my due diligence, and this family-owned business micromanages every step from the fields to the cup to ensure the best quality coffee you're ever gonna have. It starts with the beans that are grown in Honduras. Honduras's volcanic soil and humid climate make the perfect growing conditions for coffee plants, which produce the best beans ever. Then each batch is tested for its aroma, taste, and other aspects to meet the highest standards in the coffee industry. And after that, it goes into production, which is all done right here in the USA. It's like you're getting that small batch specialty coffee, but delivered right to your front door. So go to mystore.com or call the number on your screen. Use the promo code and you'll get your very own My Coffee for 25% off. You guys all know that I've traveled the country for the past year and a half. I've stayed in hundreds of hotels. I've tried every coffee out there. Well, some of the coffees have that terrible aftertaste, some that leave me jittery, or I get an upset stomach. Well, my coffee is different. It's the richest, smoothest, best coffee I've ever had. My coffee comes in a variety of flavors. You get them ground or whole bean, plus it's certified organic and non-GMO. I guarantee it'll be the best coffee you've ever had. So go to mystore.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code and you'll get My Coffee for 25% off. And I'm going to give you deep discounts on all my store products. That's mystore.com. It's my new platform for USA entrepreneurs. Please order now.
I got my coffee.
Yeah.
Oh, don't
yeah.
be too jealous. It's okay. You get it tomorrow.
Next time.
But yes, mystore.com. Mystore.com, promo code AC21. On the My Coffee, you get 25%. On many other items, you get up to 66%. And then we will definitely talk about that next break we take. If we get there, we'll let the ad tell you exactly. But you can also grab Extract Javity. Extract Javity is 100% organic, basically kind of an energy drink, but then also very healthy for your body. So it doesn't just boost your energy; it helps, nail, skin, hair.
Yeah.
Hair. That is Brandon House's product, but it is available on my store. You can use the same promo code. And yes, when you do use that promo code, you also help me. You help Michael, AJ, Let's Be Frank, Live Up to Freedom, Blog Talk Radio. There's a lot of support if you simply purchase from mystore.com using my promo code. Go ahead. You can be jealous now.
Yeah, and I can vouch for the Extractivity. That stuff actually tastes good and it works. I got my container of it over the weekend. Finally tried it, I think Saturday. Sorry, my days are running together now. But that stuff's delicious and it works.
It is delicious. It is. Okay, and again, a lot of you are from. Oh, hi. I'm sorry. One of the cats just decided to scare me here. Which one is? Oh, hello, Emma. I'm a bit jumpy, aren't I?
Hey, you know what? It happens. And it's not the coffee, everybody. The coffee doesn't make you jittery.
Oh, no. 12 bounties on your head makes you a little jumpy. Just a little,
Yeah, I can see where that might come from.
Anyhow, okay, let's get back to it. This was a report that I found on Afghanistan International, Michael, and I told you about it, and we kind of discussed it before coming on air. But here's the thing. I'm just going to do a rough translation of what's in front of me. So apparently, Washington Examiner released or published an article saying that they have evidence that can prove Taliban are sexually abusing young boys. Remember, Bachabazi, we've been talking about it for years. Our soldiers have talked about it. But it's at a point when Washington Examiner is now talking about it. And they are saying that how do I translate this? The higher level of Taliban government are having up to 5 boys at a time for themselves. 5 boys at a time. Now, before you take over, Michael.
Oh,
One,
you're fine. Yeah.
it has to be so bad for Washington Examiner to say this, because Washington Examiner, from what I've read of them, what I've heard of them, they have gradually joined the entire fake, just kind of say something to say something, don't go after anybody exactly or whatever. But for them to specifically mention Bachabazi, to specifically mention Taliban, and our regime is still working with Taliban and paying Taliban, that's a whole different frustration. All yours, Michael.
Exactly. Well, the fact that the Biden regime is still in bed with them now and still flying people out of the country is just sick. Yeah, this has been ongoing. I know on other programs I've been on, I've talked about this before, where like U.S. soldiers would witness this behavior and be told by their commanders, "Don't say anything about it. Don't put it in your reports. That this is to be ignored. That somehow this is like, I don't know, defaming their unique culture." Um, but again, it's the truth. It's the reality, and this is what goes on. And this is another example of where if there we didn't have this level of censorship and people were actually made aware of this, they wouldn't be going along with it. But instead, you get this whitewashed, cleaned up version of what happens in a lot of these countries, and people aren't even aware of the facts unless they watch a program like this. Like you said, the fact that Washington Examiner has all of a sudden decided to say something is kind of alarming. That makes me think it's even worse than their reporting, because again, they've tried to stay out of this game more or less for the last 2 years.
I am so sorry. You can see half of Emma on the screen. If
Ha!
she's interested. I do apologize, but hey, you guys are used to me having kitties up here. But if she pulls any plugs, this live feed goes boom. It was Emma, not me. Emma, darling, would you please get off the table? Thank you.
That's
Okay,
hilarious. It was
emergency.
Sia earlier.
I know, emergency situation is this solved. Here's the thing. Another thing I do remember, not one but two cases of American soldiers who actually defended the little boy that was being raped in Afghanistan, and they were disciplined
Mhm.
for standing up for a little child. They were disciplined. And as we said at the very beginning of this live feed, it's like you know, they make an example of this soldier, so the rest of the soldiers look the other way. And again, I will say, how do I say this? Let's have two scenarios. One, we'll say it's a cultural thing. Okay. Why did we fly 60 plus thousand of these people who have not only committed this cultural, inhuman, animalistic, not even animalistic, but okay, fine, act into our country where priority is kids, where we defend and protect our children? I should say we used to, because now we take them to drag shows.
Yes.
It is painful. There is no winning in this discussion, but that's one. We brought them into this country. They didn't get new training. They didn't go through assimilation classes. Nobody told them it's illegal in this country to have little boys as your toys. And when they do commit it, they're going to cover it up for them, or they're going to just let them go because based on cultural differences. But then there's the other side of it, that nobody is talking about the fact that this is not a cultural thing. This is an Islamic thing. I have done on this very YouTube channel, those of you who are watching on this YouTube channel, I'm sorry, 1 second, Michael, take over. My camera is about to go down altogether.
Are you kidding? Oh, yeah.
I'll
So
be right
like
back.
this is again something we've discussed before, and it isn't blaming the culture. It isn't. It's kind of like it's a scapegoat, because again, it's Islam. It's Sharia. It's something that's allowed and something that's perpetuated by any Sharia compliant government. We had another discussion earlier, like if you eliminated their police power and government in these countries, the religion would collapse, and that's because right now there's the force of law behind it to enforce these things. But without that,
thank you
they
for
disappear.
covering. Yes, the camera was definitely about to go down.
It would
Okay.
have been bad.
Well, it would have been, yeah. I think it would also be hilarious because you know how Emma is. She does something major, and then the way she looks at you, you're like, oh, forget it. You're too cute for me to say anything.
Yeah.
Now I understand why the youngest in the family normally gets to be spoiled, because she's my youngest and she does get away with a lot. Anyhow, I'm just glad that for some reason I decided to put my hair up today, because that would have been a struggle. Back to what I was saying. This is an Islamic thing. I've done a video about it. I have shown the verses of the Quran, but then it's somehow, somewhere we're twisting it and we're hiding. I get it. It's disgusting. It's disturbing to think that there are a group of people who do it. But unless you come to realize that they do it, imagine, for example, we would deny rapists exist. Can you imagine that scenario, Michael?
Well, they're already in a couple cities now. Is it? It's either Seattle or Portland. They're not investigating rape cases that involve people over 18. They're saying we don't have the police for it. And then I think there was another city in Michigan that's doing the same thing. So that's already starting to come here too now.
Yeah, because again, the place is Michigan. In Islam, rape doesn't exist. Rape doesn't exist. Raping children doesn't exist. Girl become woman at the age. It's the I don't know. I just remembered Michael. Michael was co-hosting with me today on my Lindell TV show, and later on, when I went back to the comments, Michael, we had a question that I promised the person who asked that question in our comment section of Frank's speech that we will address this. Now, this is absolutely no shape or form related to what we just said. So why don't we quickly go over clip version of what we talked about today on my show earlier this afternoon, and then go to that question, because I see a question that's kind of familiar with this one too.
Yeah.
Why don't you start? We basically talked about division, but let's just concentrate on the Jewish versus Christian division against Islam, and then we go to the questions. Go ahead.
Yeah, the idea behind a lot of this division is just to break us down and make us less effective. That where do you want to start on this? Sorry, because it does cut a couple different ways. When it comes to the division between Christians and Jews, I do think a lot of this is orchestrated by our enemies, by people on the left that want to keep everybody in these little boxes and not see us getting along with each other. So rather than letting us agree on the things that we agree on and disagree on the things that we disagree on, if they see us united, that's a problem for them. So instead, they try to drive wedges between us. So a lot of this on the Christian side, you see through the what they call the social justice gospels. And this is a lot of your churches that you see, the ones that do invite in the refugees, that are down there saying, the borders should be open, that that borders are a social construct. The ones that sort of push that theology, that it's our duty and obligation to help everyone all over the world, no matter what, no matter how much it tears us down.
Exactly. And then another thing about it is that's how I think I tried to explain it today earlier before in my whole life is sometimes you need to realize or look at the ratio.
Mm-hmm.
Christian versus Jews. And I'm going to use what Brandon House taught us, or at least taught me on our Sunday show, Let's Be Frank, where we had Brandon House on the show. And I enjoyed it so much. But he said, when we talk Christians, we need to differentiate between the, followers of Christ and Christians. More specifically, he talked about the Catholic Christians and the other group that if I had to pronounce it or I would die, you all know there's a funeral coming up. How do we pronounce that again, Michael?
Well, the evangelicals, he was kind of looking at it as...
No. The group, Jesuit.
Oh, yeah, the Jesuit order within the Catholic Church, yes.
Jesuit, there we go. That's the thing. I will mispronounce it. If Michael's in here, I'm going to call it Jesuit. You might know what I'm talking about. Anyhow, he was, to differentiate. Now, I want to talk about followers of Christ and Jewish people and their problem right now. Followers of Christ are most definitely the most persecuted people, and anti-Semitism is on the rise as well. Absolutely. Yes. But I would proudly say, regardless of all the attacks I received and all the punches that I was receiving from Jewish community calling me anti-Semite for saying Christians are the most persecuted, even though I never said Jews aren't, even though I've been fighting for Jews and vocalizing concern for them for many years. But apparently, as soon as I said Christians are more persecuted, there's a group of Jews who are going to call me anti-Semite for it. That being said, I'm happy to say that Brannon House, who's an expert on this topic with over 30 years of experience, agreed that yes. And the reason for it is they're trying to get rid of Christians, the followers of Christ, so they can go after the Jews. Now,
Yes.
with that little quick introduction to yesterday's show, Let's Be Frank, today's show, Live Up to Freedom, I'm going to read the first question from our audience today. Hopefully they made it to our show today to hear it. So the question is, what advice would you give to Catholics toward improving their relationship with the Jewish community? Very many Catholics are not happy with the current direction of the church or Pope Benedict.
Yeah.
You want to go first to answer that question, Michael?
Yeah, and let me preface this by saying I was born and raised Catholic. I went to Catholic schools from grade school through high school and everything else. And I agree. Same thing. Pope Francis is taking us down the drain, unfortunately. But I do think that's kind of where, like as Brandon was saying, you have to differentiate between people that are, following God's message and people that are just going along with the human side of the church, or going along with a lot of this globalism that we've seen infect the church, beginning with Benedict and then continued and escalated through Pope Francis, both with the interfaith dialogue stuff, or I mentioned on the show where when Pope Francis in Malta recently, he had all the crosses and crucifixes and anything that was a Christian decoration taken down. Instead, they took the picture in front of like recycled bottles, or I don't know, it looked like a pile of garbage to me that was behind a fence. It was really sick. But again, like to cave to this stuff over and over again, or to cozy up to dictators in South America and socialists and everything else, or him just having this warped idea that, again, we should have a world without borders, that there shouldn't be any sovereignty. That's where I think a lot of the current disagreement is with the Catholic Church, and that's kind of where I am. But that does drive a wedge between us, and it is another division of the church. And it is also that the social justice gospels infecting both the Catholic Church and, again, a lot of the evangelical churches at the moment. Brandon's talked about this a lot of time in his show now, where this is moved in with the and I'm sorry, I'm bad with this. There's a large like Baptist conference every year where he's talked about, like, they have a speaker coming this year that's exactly where they came out of.
Correct. But I'm going to narrow it down to the exact question that this audience has asked us, which is, what is the advice to Catholics to have a better relationship or improve their relationship with Jewish people? Because this person is aware a lot of Catholics are not okay with the way church and Pope are going. Number one thing I'm going to say, in order to prove, like something I have said, not to compare, maybe I should compare, but Muslims. Any Muslim who comes at me with, you shouldn't put all of us in one, category, I'm like, I won't. The moment you stand next to me and defend me, I'll remove you from the all Muslim category. I'll say the same thing with Catholics. If you're not okay with where church and Pope and Rome and all that is going, number one, stop funding it. Stop funding it. You cannot fund them and then say, I'm not okay with where it's going. Number one. Now, in general, I'm not going to claim that I know anything or much about any of the sects. Me personally, I'm a follower of Christ. I take Bible as my guidance, and I talk to God when it comes to guidance. I don't need a middleman. I don't need a church of this and church of that, and they are better than them. No, because when Jesus was here, he didn't say anything of somebody needs to come correct my actions, or I need a middleman to get. No. But that's for another topic for another day, I guess. What I will say is, as a Catholic, you don't like what's happening? 2 scenarios. Stop being a Catholic. I'm sorry. I'll say the same thing to Muslims or anyone else. If you don't like what's happening to an extent of needing to improve your relationship with another group of people, therefore, you can sort of kind of just go back to following Christ instead of the Pope. Number 2, don't fund them. Because I know Catholics do pay money to their churches, which Brannon House also covered, that there is nowhere in the Bible that says you have to give money to the church. This is another thing that has been made up by Catholic Church. Don't fund them. I still don't understand. I don't know how is it. Like the lifestyle of Pope and everybody else in Vatican is expensively luxurious. He is the second most expensive protected person on earth after Queen of England. She's number one most expensive. Pope is number two. Number three is, I don't know how to say his name, China's guy, the dictator in China.
Oh, Xi Jinping. Yeah.
That one. That guy is number three. Meaning Pope spends more money on protecting himself being inside a city that already has walls around it. Where do you think this money is coming? It's coming from all the Catholics. That's where it's coming. And their little, behind the door deals with red, green access and interfaith dialogue. Not to get too far. My advice, number one, build your own relationship with people. Stop having bad relationship with Jews or I don't know, any other Christian, anybody. Stop doing that because some middleman who's scared of his own shadow is telling you.
Yeah.
Use your God-given mind to put facts together. As you said, as Brandon dissected it fully yesterday on our show, that we don't have to agree when it comes to the theology, but we do need to agree to a uniform method of fight back when it comes to common enemy. Who's the common enemy? Whomever you are. I'm going to say this, it might shock some people. Atheists, LGBTQ, Christian of any sect, any form, any format, Jewish, Buddhist, whatever. Running out of things to say, groups to say. We all together have a common enemy. That's Islam. Why do I say that? In Islam, if you're atheist, you shall be killed. If you're a Christian, you shall be killed. If you're a Jew, you shall be killed. If you're gay, you shall be dropped from the top of the roof. You see the common enemy here? None of the other atheists are not out there to kill Christians. Christians are not out there to kill Jews. Jews aren't out there to kill LGBT. Point is, the enemy is the one who's trying to kill all of us. Now, if in any shape or form there is a middleman of any form that is stopping you from uniting with with the rest of human society to fight the one and only killing machine of human society, then I say push them out of the way, continue on your path. That's my personal opinion.
Yeah. Last thing I want to say on this topic. Well, two things actually. So one, when you see something you have a problem with, speak out. We have social media now. It's not like everybody's in their own little bubble with just their local friends. So when you see something you disagree with, post about it, write about it. If it's something the Catholic Church is doing or something, whatever group is doing, voice your opinion. Also with the Catholic churches, I've noticed that there are still some that do follow the more, I guess, traditional path that aren't liberal or whatever. Like where I live outside the city, like I've gone to a few here that are extremely liberal. And unfortunately, there's only one within about a half an hour drive of where I live that's decent.
I'm going to put this on the screen. By the way, this person has been commenting before too. There was a question about the Rome and this one that I can never pronounce the sect.
We have to agree.
And then anyhow, this person has been putting information and mentioned that this person is I don't even know how to pronounce it, Messianic Jew. You said on your last comment, we do have to agree with theology. I think you're confused. I'm not confused. Hold on, Michael. Yeah. With all due respect, hold on. Because this one is toward me. I'm not confused. Let me tell you why. I come from an ideology that taught me if they don't agree with you, you kill them. So I very quickly actually learned we don't have to agree in theology. If your theology doesn't tell you to kill me, I don't care what your theology is. When I die, I'll be judged on my theology, on my belief, on my faith, on my action, on my reaction. So it's none of my business to make you agree with me, nor is it my business to force myself to agree with you. So I'm not confused, darling. You're confused. You think we all have to agree in order to coexist. No. As long as our disagreement is mutual and civilized, as long as I say you do you, I do me, we don't have to agree. The moment your theology or your disagreement ends in my death, then let it be. We're going to fight it out. But otherwise, the reason we're in a mess that we are today is the fact that Jews want to convince Christians that Messiah hasn't arrived yet. Christians want to prove to Jews Messiah was already here. Come on, let it be. Let them continue searching, and good for us for ending our search. End of the story. The entire we have to agree part is a man-made tool on earth to create the chaos we're in today. No, darling, I don't have to agree with your theology, and I will never expect you to agree to mine. I will never come to you and say, if you're not a Christian, you burn in hell. You know why? Because I'm a sinful person myself. If I'm way too talented to know who's going to get to heaven, I'll make my own way over there. None of my business what you want to do with your life. The only reason I fight an ideology, not a theology, ideology called cult of Islam is because they want me dead. Then I'm going to start fighting them. That's to answer your question. Michael, go ahead.
I think you're exactly right. And to put it bluntly, I don't care if somebody worships the flying spaghetti monster. If they're with me in the fight against the red green axis and they have good moral values and good character, that's still an ally that we have. I don't really care if somebody's Jewish, Christian, or whatever. As long as they are standing up with us in the fight, that's what we have to look at. We have to get past these little disagreements. Everybody's going to have their own religion and their own belief system. But when we start putting ourselves in all these little boxes and categories, that's how the enemy wins. It's always divide and conquer.
It's called freedom, definition of freedom. You are free to be whoever you want to be as long as you're not going to cross boundaries and come over into my life to change mine. It's the definition of freedom. You can go as far as being offensive, and I have the right to be offended. That's the beauty of freedom. Now, just to be fair, there is a correction that you were talking about Roman Christianity, not Islam and Christianity. The same thing applies to Roman Christianity. Actually, if you go and watch our show from yesterday, specifically, Brandon House did mention that we were all fine because we came to agreement that we will not agree on theology with Rome, as long as we don't mind it, we don't step into each other's business. The problem started when Rome, being the Catholic Church, decided to push their I forgot to pronounce it. The
Jesuits.
Jesuit group of people to go for one world religion.
Yeah.
That is not the theology I'm talking about. No, we don't have to agree with that. We have to fight that. But a general question of Catholics, I can guarantee you, Catholics are not looking for one world religion. That's why they're unhappy with where their church is going. And that's why I'll tell them, stop being part of the church. That's the thing. Right now, there's a report, 1.5 billion Muslims. That's a lie. That's a lie. You know why it's a lie? Because when you're born in any Islamic country, it stamps you as Muslim.
Yeah.
70% of Islamic Republic of Iran are not Muslims. They don't want to be Muslim. The moment they have the freedom not to be Muslim, they will stop being a Muslim. Mm-hmm. That's 70% of one Islamic country. It's the same thing with Catholics. You know how many people I have met that's like, well, technically I was raised a Catholic, but I'm not a Catholic. But guess what? Their name is still on the Catholic number. And again, I'm not comparing Catholics with Muslims. I want to make sure somebody doesn't come after me for that. It's just easier to use that terminology. Go ahead, Michael.
No, I mean, there's nothing really else to add to it. You're exactly right. And there's no reason to get the two confused. At the end of the day, you're looking for people that are followers of Christ. And if people are taking that message and acting upon it, they're on the right path. And that's at least close enough that we can agree with and we can accomplish the same goals. Same with somebody that comes out of the Jewish faith or somebody that's not religious or whatever. If they have the same goals and are both helping to push back against the red-green axis and all these other powers that we see coming against us right now, then that's an ally.
Mm-hmm. And that's the thing. I don't understand your argument with me, Harmonic
chaos.
You're saying the same thing I'm saying, and then you're telling me I'm confused. So it's either you're changing your opinion of me being confused without telling me you're changing it, or you're confused yourself because you're agreeing with everything I'm saying. So I'm gonna let you figure that out because I don't want to distract my live feed over what's making no sense. Now, atheists, people who are atheists, they believe there is no God, right?
Yeah.
Technically, as a Christian, I could say they are thinking wrong or false doctrine. Well, none of my business. They're not paying my bills, and they're not planning to kill me. So let them think the falsehood. They think I'm thinking of a false God that don't exist. So drop it. Drop it. There is one problem. There is one problem. We're so busy correcting each other. We're so busy pretending to be Jesus, who's perfect, that we're distracted from the fact that there's actually a group of people who gladly will blow all of us that are arguing over who's correct. We're all going to be blown up at the same time.
Exactly. And
If
that's
that
playing right into their
doesn't
hand.
trust the message, I got nothing else to say. Whenever we take care of those who want us dead, I will gladly let you go fight against everybody you think has a wrong religion. As long as you don't go kill them, as long as you don't go shoot them, you go argue with everybody. Again, I don't know what Messianic Jews are. It's hard to keep up with all these sects and, backhands and back alleys. As I said, my direction up there, done. I don't need back alleys and left turns and right turns and any of that. Been there, done that way too many times.
Yeah.
So whichever sect you belong to, if whatever it means, I'm glad you're happy with it. I'm not going to argue with your point or Rome's point. I was one of the earliest people 7 years ago to say, keep your eyes on the Pope, keep your eyes on the Vatican, because they are going to empower red-green axis. Now, you're telling me they're empowering red-green axis 7 years ago. You've been listening.
Mhm.
Moving on. We got 4 Afghan refugees. I'm sorry, Marco, anything you want to add to this? I don't mean to just...
Nope. I think you pretty much summed it up very well. That these little items, the infighting, that's exactly what our enemies want us to do. They want us not to work with each other and fight about things that only take away from our strengths.
That's the thing. He said, you have much to learn. We are Jews that believe in Jesus as Messiah. I don't need to learn that, darling. I don't.
Yeah, I mean, I don't care. It's your
No,
belief.
no. The thing is, the reason I don't need to learn about all of the sects is, as I said, all of this chaos goes on until anyone who has anything except a straight path from heart to God, done.
Mm-hmm.
I don't need to learn rotations and back alleys to the left. Remember, the first 15 years of my life was learning all of that. I don't need to learn that. Now, what you do need to learn is it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if I know what's the difference between a Catholic and a Messianic Jew and an Orthodox Jew and a Shia Muslim. It doesn't matter. What does matter is when you learn to come to realize there's one enemy that needs to be fought back. After that, we'll have this discussion again. 4 Afghan refugees in Austria, ages from here 16, 18, 22, and 23. They literally snatched a 13-year-old girl, drugged her, gang raped her over and over until she died.
Yes.
Number one, it's not plastered all over the news. Of course it isn't. Number two, the justice system in Austria decided they should not be charged with murder. You take over so I can take a breath before I lose my mind over this one. You go ahead, Michael.
Yeah. So again, we see them discount the crimes. It goes unreported. And I guess this is another part of their beautiful and unique culture that we're just not properly observing. But the idea is, again, they downplay these crimes when they happen. They hide it from the public. And then if somebody does get upset about them, that's the person that's the problem. You've seen with like Tommy Robinson in the UK over and over again, just for pointing these things out. He's done jail time for going to the court and trying to report on verdicts and on different hearings. But it's through all of Europe, and this stuff is coming here. We have congressmen now pushing blasphemy laws and what was it? anti-Islamophobia laws. I guess we have Iranophobia now to deal with too. But this puts them into a protected class, and it shields the public so they don't see the real problem at hand. But we've seen the same story through the media over and over again. But we have 4 guys that are juveniles, and instead they're not charging them with anything. They're not trying to deport them, and they murdered this woman. This poor 13-year-old was raped to death. That, I mean, I don't think there's anything most of us can relate to that. It's just it's so horrible that it's unimaginable. But the fact that they're going to get away with it, they're already out back on the street, they're fine.
And the message we're sending out, as I said,
Yeah.
I'll go back to being the racist that I am. 60,000+ Afghans came to America between August and September of 2021. We don't know who they are. We don't know where they are. And we just watched a Western country literally not even attempt to charge 4 Afghan refugee ages, again, 16, 18, 22, 23 years old, for killing a 13-year-old girl. The message we're sending, now, I decided not to do it, but I'll do it. 1 second. See, darling, this is where the problem is. If you don't know what people believe, then you don't know if they are genuine Christian. Why is it my business to know who is a genuine Christian? Seriously. I'm an ex-Muslim who was raped, imprisoned, sold, beat up, shattered by a bunch of Muslims. I don't give a damn who's a real Christian. I care who's a real Muslim. Do you not get it? Good for you. You'll be rewarded in 7th of heaven for being the true Christian. I don't care, because true Christian or not, no Christian is after me to kill me. I care to know who's a true Muslim. Now, take your conversation down, and I appreciate you liking me. I appreciate you enjoying me being a wild, strong woman. These compliments doesn't work on me. I've been looking for an army of humans, not Christians, not Jews, not humans who are willing to stand by me to get rid of the cult of Islam that is standing for everything inhuman. Does that make sense to you? 4 Afghan men raped, drugged, and killed a 13-year-old. I don't care who's a real Christian. I care that these 4 men come from Islam and its teachings.
Yes. And that countries are just allowing this to happen with no repercussions over and over.
People are allowing it, Michael. I'm sorry to scream. This has nothing to do with country. Every government is doing whatever they want to do because we're having this pointless internal argument. Christianity is Jewish. Okay, fine. What difference does that make? Seriously, Christianity is Jewish. Jewish is Christian. Christian is Catholic. Catholic is atheist. I don't care. No, this is happening because we are too busy nitpicking on things that are so irrelevant to our future right now that we don't even grasp the idea of what's killing us. I'm sorry, I'll stop yelling. You go.
No, you're exactly right. And again, it's a distraction. Like I said, these little tiny arguments on doctrine between who believes what or what sect they're in, or somebody insulted this group 1,500 years ago, or this group did that. Doesn't matter. The big picture right now is this alliance between the modern left and the Muslim world. We keep seeing this strengthen too. We just had this meeting that we talked about last week in Iran with Russia. China's in there now too, building railway systems. We see them mounting against us, but instead we're fighting with each other. And like you said, it is us. We're the reason. Us not doing anything is why things happen like this in Austria. The government knows there won't be any repercussions. They're more afraid of pissing off the Muslims than they are doing the right thing.
Of course. Look at the comments on this live stream.
Yeah.
Every time there's a discussion about Jews and Christians, everybody has something to say. When we switch back to Muslims, everybody's quiet.
Yeah, we kick off a literal holy war.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's the thing. That's why I did name this live feed. Unless we, the people, take action, nothing's going to change. That's all there is to it. Mm-hmm. As long as people are not willing to put their big boy or big girl pants on and call the enemy, we're going to fight each other. We're going to fight each other. And that's the thing. You know me, Michael. This is my attitude. I'm not competing against who's a true Christian. I'm not competing. I'm not competing. End of a story. I am leading a fight against people that I come from, against people that have destroyed my childhood and millions of others. Now they're here killing, raping, and drugging my neighbors. That's all there is to it. As I said, if and when we diffuse the threat from the real enemy, sure, everybody can compete. We have all sorts of churches involved with interfaith dialogue. All sorts of churches. My question is, why are all these people staying quiet, not walking away from the church that's involved with interfaith dialogue? Because they want to be the good guys. They want to be the nice Christians. They don't want to be racist. They don't want to be Islamophobe. They don't want to be anything. Apparently nowadays it's fashioned. Being coward is more acceptable than anything else. That's the thing. 10 years from today, I will still sleep like a baby knowing I did my job. I did my duty by sitting here for 1 hour and 16 of my day trying to inform people. Now, those who are quietly, silently sitting there, not even commenting or saying anything, I appreciate all of the silent majority because you guys are absolutely not helping the fight. The more you're quiet, the more we feel alone. So if you think silent majority somehow, somewhere is going to be helpful, you won't be. If you don't think now is the time to be vocal, I don't know what you're waiting for. I'm sure the invitation will arrive one day. Those who are trying to create chaos, like this darling harmonic person, darling, your attempt was absolutely uncalled for. The fact that you think it's important if Christianity is Jewish Christianity is exactly what me and Michael were talking earlier. Stop this division. Nobody cares. Nobody should care. Really, nobody should care. As I said, at the end of the day, any one of us who dies, we will be judged for our own heart and mind. If it's so important for you to prove yourself, maybe you should look in the mirror. Just saying, just an idea.
Yeah, exactly. And if it really is that important that I check the right box here on earth and belong to the exact right church, I guess I'll just have to pay for that later. Because I don't think that's how God looks at it. But maybe I'm wrong. But this division is, again, like I keep saying, this is exactly what our enemies want. It's taking our eyes off the prize. What we need now is the silent majority to get off the bench and do something. If you're not in this fight, you're going to lose. It's just as bad as working with the enemy.
Okay. I never get somebody attacked me on Facebook today over something irrelevant. I answered them. They replied, but you're a smart girl. You know how to turn the situation. If I wasn't, I wouldn't survive as long. Captain Obvious. But I love this. I'm sorry. My bad. You're right to be upset for what happened to you. But what happened to Messiah is a greater problem than what happened to you. He forgave his enemies. I'm going to break this down. I'm not upset if you missed the point. I'm not upset about what happened to me. I have used what happened to me to try to help people like you. 2, nobody, again, I don't know what this competition mentality is. I didn't say mine was greater than Messiah. Did I say that? No, but you brought it up. Great. Am I Messiah? No. If I was at the point of forgiveness of Messiah, then I would be Messiah. Darling, who I forgive or I don't, first of all, it's Messiah's business, not yours. 2, you want me to forgive the Muslims who did this to me so they can come do it to you? Sure. Hey, let's do it. Try to make sense. Stop being inside of a box that mainstream media taught us. You're a Christian, you have to forgive. Who said I didn't forgive them? Who said that? When my father died, I went atheist. Then when I was saved, there are enough inner circle people who can tell you that I found it in my heart to forgive him. Not for him, for me. But just because I forgave him doesn't mean I shouldn't warn people about people like my father. Stop being confused. Forgiveness has nothing to do with being informative. You can forgive everybody, doesn't mean you should forget.
Exactly.
And the
It's still
point is, if you want to tell me that Messiah's, if you phrased it interesting, what happened to Messiah is a greater problem. Do you realize what you're hinting here? Do you realize what you're hinting here? You're telling me that what Muslims did to me is less than what the Jewish leader decided to do with Messiah. Do you see the division you're creating? That me and Michael have spent an hour to try to close that division? Did I mention I'm a smart girl who can turn the situation? You yourself just decided to create more division between Jews and Christians by making that a statement. Let it go. Go ahead, Michael.
I think you're dead on the money. There's a bunch of things I could add on to what you said. There's really no reason to. I keep repeating myself at this point. But the one thing you said is there's a difference between forgiveness and then also like failure to your duty, your obligation to go out and warn other people for what you've seen and what you've witnessed firsthand. Those aren't the same thing. You can forgive the individuals that wronged you, but that doesn't mean you have to stop sounding the alarm bells.
Exactly. And I agree. Larry says never forgive evil. Actually, thank you, Larry. You just gave me a good idea. Don't you think one of the reasons, just narrowing it down to America is in a shape that it is today is the fact that we forgave too much? Don't you think that's happening?
Yeah.
We kept looking the other way. Remember, I said this once, I got absolutely attacked. I'll say it again. Some of you are in such a hurry to join the dinner sit at a table that Jesus himself would flip over. Let that sink in.
Again, though, there's a difference between forgiving someone for something they do and not doing something to make sure it doesn't happen again. You can forgive bad behavior, but then you expect people not to do it again.
That's the whole that's one of the problems I have with people. You know that, Michael.
Yeah.
First time I'm sorry, I'm like, don't worry about it. Second time I'm sorry, I'm like, no, you're not. And I don't mean you, the person.
Yeah.
No, you're not. Because an apology without change of behavior is manipulation.
Exactly.
We don't get to commit the same sin over and over and then ask for forgiveness from our Lord and Savior and pretend like he did because he's just like that. Why? Here's my question. If you really think that's the case, then why are we worried that we can just keep on committing sin, ask for forgiveness, and then we're all going to end up in heaven, don't we? That's not how it works. You're going to have to actually follow Christ. You think it's that easy? You think following Christ is just about forgiving? Oh, no. No. Christ was a teacher. You want to compare my situation with Messiah? Let me compare this. Regardless of the dangers and the threats, he continued teaching. Just an idea.
I like what Larry has to say over here. Keep flipping that table, Annie.
Oh, Larry, you know me. I will be flipping that table, yes. And that's all right, Harmonic. You can think what I'm saying is wrong. But what I will take from all of your argument here is you're part of the problem because you chose this opportunity to create more division. And instead of, as I said, instead of supporting a woman who you claim to be a strong woman, instead of supporting her on her message against evil, you decided to choose this time and spend this time to, first of all, I thank you for giving me the opportunity to actually tell the rest of my audience that I may not say much, but I'm not an idiot. But you prove that you are part of the problem in so many ways. But for today's way is you decided to come in and create more division between Jews and Christians and within the Christians and within the Jews, which tells me you prefer to cover up for the evil that you claim that we should forgive, because I would never ask anyone to forgive evil. I wouldn't.
Yeah.
But luckily, I believe in freedom. And as long as your comments don't turn into threats against my life or Michael's or somebody else, comment section is all yours. But I will ignore you moving forward, because now you're just reaching. And we don't do that on my live feed. Go ahead, Michael.
No. Yeah. He can't. We're here trying to talk about unity and trying to get people's attention on to what we need to be focused on. And he's a perfect example of what we're talking about, is somebody that goes in and tries to sow more division and break apart people that should be united in common goals and common interest. We can argue about little minor differences between faiths or total differences in faith. It doesn't, to me, like I started to say, is it doesn't matter to me. I don't care if somebody's Jewish or somebody's Christian or somebody believes this, or they want to go worship the flying spaghetti monster. Don't care. If your morals and your values are in the right place and we are united against our common enemies, the red, green axis, these modern socialist communists that are united with Islam and the caliphate, that's what we need to be focused on. And it should be obvious at this point. We keep seeing more and more pieces of this plan unrolled in country after country, and we're doing nothing because we're all fighting with each other.
Exactly. And that's the thing. At the end of the day, those who have followed me for quite a time, those of you guys who are in my life close, one thing about me is the more someone try to shove something down my throat, the more they remind me of Islamic movement. Not that necessarily they're Muslims, but when they're so set on, you're wrong, your topic is irrelevant today, you should forgive the evil. Absolutely everything they've done to you goes against the Bible. You should forgive all of that. You should argue with me over who knows more about Christianity. Is when I realize this one person is what we call, I guess, troll, who comes in and tries to distract the conversation so they can distract the education. Now, thankfully, I've been attacked by so many trolls. I'm very good at grabbing it and then returning it back into where it needs to be.
Yeah.
I will say this. End of the day, I'm not expecting all Jews and Christians and even humans to unite, because that's impossible. Unfortunately, with technology and everything going on today, that's too impossible. But what I will say is, I hope more people, first of all, start being vocal about what matters. What matters. Because as I said, some things are so irrelevant to the whole topic, to the end of the days. It's just irrelevant. You know, you want to shave your head or you want to grow your hair. Why does that matter? What you want to wear or you don't want to wear. No, I don't agree with people who want to walk butt naked in public, just in case.
That's crossing a line. Yeah.
But point is, I hope more people start being vocal about what matters. And I hope more people come to realize, end of the day, when you're dead, you be judged for your own actions, your reactions. So looking the other way is a reaction. So if you had an opportunity to save a 13-year-old girl from being drugged, raped, kidnapped, killed, and you didn't do anything because you were worried about being called Islamophobe, then you might be in trouble. But other than that, there is an easy way to solve this problem. It is as easy as I mention it. And it takes one thing, and that is for humans to unite against inhuman. That's it.
Exactly. Even with these little disagreements between one sect and one religion and another, if people sat down with each other across the table, I bet people would still agree with 95% of what the other did. And shouldn't that be enough common ground for us to move forward? Because we know with our opposition, with those that are lining up against us, you're not going to find any percentage anywhere near that. We're not going to agree on basically anything.
Exactly. So I would love to continue going for another hour and a half, Michael, but I will inform you that we are 31 minutes away from work time. So we do not need to wrap up here and go get some work done. One thing I forgot to do was to mention that we are coming back. Originally, it was just me with my Blog Talk Radio, but we are coming back Thursdays.
Yes,
6
Thursday.
PM Central. No, wait, 5 p.m. Central Time, 6 p.m. Eastern Time, right?
Yes. I was looking it down.
This time zone is driving me crazy. Okay, 5 p.m. Central, 6 p.m. Eastern time, every Thursday, Blog Talk Radio. It will be me, Michael. Hopefully, if AJ can open some time to join us, we will have guests. We will discuss things. We will open phone lines. We will bring you on if you want to join the discussion, if you have a point, if you have a question, not if you have an argument over my understanding of the gospel. I will hang up on you because this is not a Christian teaching class. This is explaining Islamization class. So please
Exactly.
call other classes to tell them who knows more about gospel than you.
Yes,
But other than
save that.
that, phone lines are going to be open. Go ahead.
Save that for the theology show down the hall. You're on the wrong station.
Exactly. So I will say this. Um, that I personally look forward to hearing from you guys. I hope you get again when you're engaged. First of all, you help us spread the message. You help encourage us to do more because sometimes with the low number of views and shares and comments, it kind of feels like why are we even doing this? It's so engage as much as you can. We will answer questions, so send them to liveuptofreedom@gmail.com if you
Yep.
don't catch them on your comment. Also, mystore.com, promo code AC21. My coffee is out now. You can get it with 25% off using my promo code AC21. Every other product, Extract Gravity by Brandon House, also promo code AC21. You can go to my art store, lutfstudio.com, grab a piece or two or place a custom order. What am I missing, Michael?
I think you got everything. You've got Live Up to Freedom on every day, Monday through Friday, 3:30 on Lindell TV. Let's Be Frank. Now I'm going to confuse myself on the time. 8 p.m. on Sundays Eastern. I better just stay out of this
Yes.
because there's so many times and time zones.
No,
I'm just
you did
confusing myself.
right. We did
Yeah,
right. 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central time every Sunday. Let's be frank. Yes.
That's right. And then we'll be back on Blog Talk Radio this Thursday. What?
Is anybody here from Facebook? I just got a text saying that our Facebook Live isn't there. So I'm not sure if this was a mistake or we are gone from Facebook.
I wonder if they nuked it off of here. I'm going to try to pull it up real fast.
It says you're live on Facebook isn't there, but I'm seeing comments on Facebook. How is that even possible?
Oh yeah, good point.
Okay, anyhow, if we lost you on Facebook without knowing, we're sorry. I know we're on YouTube. But nope, people say they see us.
Okay, good.
Okay, perfect. So let's do this. We will be back. Michael, we're coming back Friday, right?
Yes, we'll
No,
be back
Wednesday. Yeah, Friday.
Yeah, Friday. We'll be on Blog Talk Radio Thursday, then back on here again on Friday.
Yes,
weekly wrap
Blog
up.
Talk. Blog Talk Radio Thursday, 5 p.m. Central Time. We will be back on live stream here and YouTube, Facebook and YouTube, Friday, 6 p.m. Central Time. My show will go on every day, Monday through Friday at 2:30 Central Time on Lindell TV and Frank Speech. Let's be frank, every Sunday. You know what? I'm going to create a poster, put all that information and post it. I would greatly appreciate if you would all share it because, yeah, it's getting confusing. Thank you so much for staying with us. Please do support our work by sharing, by taking action, getting involved, or if you can purchase items from our sponsors or ourselves directly.
And make sure you watch Live Up to Freedom this week. She has a bunch of really great guests that'll be on the show, and it'll definitely be worth your time.
I appreciate that. Yes, we do have a great lineup this week, so tune in. And if you miss it on live, you can always find it archived on my website, liveuptofreedom.com or frankspeech.com. You all stay safe and stay vigilant. God bless you and God bless America. We shall see you Friday, 6 p.m. Central Time. Bye, everybody.
See ya.